but it's staying in that bubble, staying in my zone, staying in Eric's zone, just and being there as much as possible. Because if I stay there, I'm going to throw it where I can get myself up and down.
Alrighty guys, here at the Las Vegas Challenge with coverage presented by OTB. I am here with Eric Oakley, arguably one of the most famous personalities on tour. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man. Really enjoying the Vegas ups and downs, but it's good sunshine, and we're battling the cold, but we'll be all right.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit frigid out here, and the wind is going to be an issue. But hey, how's your offseason been?
It's been great. I've been working with Seth Munsey of Disc Golf Strong and really focusing on what I can do to better myself off the course, and that's been huge. Whether it's been mentally, but a lot of it physically, strengthening the areas that he's worked with us a ton on, just stability muscles. And because we are a lot of a one-leg sport, so if we're stable on that, our body can do more, and that's been huge. So I've been feeling it. I feel like I'm throwing more under control. I have a little wild form, but I've definitely been honing that in, and it feels a little different. Hopefully you guys will see it, and that it doesn't look as wild. But having that stability is allowing me to throw smoother, farther, more accurately, hit my lines, do all the things that you need to do as a professional. So it's good.
So you mentioned are you seeing real-time results on the course from Seth's workout program?
Absolutely. All of his programs it's not just focusing, just using my shoulder. It's like while I'm using my shoulder, I'm also activating the back muscles and my core muscles, and maybe even into my hips and glutes. Like everything we do, it has layers. So it's working out a lot of different things, even if it's more focused on the shoulder, but you're also working these other areas. So it feels really impactful every time we do a workout or do an exercise that we're getting all those spots. And for me on the course, like I said, I feel more comfortable. The discs are coming out cleaner. I'm more consistent because of that stability and that balance and that strength. So it's been really, really good.
That's awesome. So I knew that Seth is in California. Mm-hmm. Is that where you've been spending your off season?
For the most part. Tina and I, after Florida last year, trekked up to Emporia. We stayed in Florida for a little bit, Emporia, down to Texas for a small stint, and then kind of we were like, we need to get to California. So we went to San Diego, hung out with Nick Newton, AJ, and awesome. It's been beautiful. And then we shot up to Monterey, spent some time with Seth, and then down to SLO, hung out with Peter before we came to Vegas. So it's been, the California, we felt like the rain was following us while we were there, because California got dumped on.
A lot.
But it was still really good. It's California in the winter. It's better than every other part of the country, so we can't complain.
Oh man, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad you've really been living it up and having a good time over the off season. I know the season can be a grind.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, coming into the first event? This is a big NT. I'm not sure if you've played any events in the past couple weekends, but how you feeling coming into the first one?
I'm trying to dial back to the expectations I had when I was a 970 rated player. Because it's really different when you're a 1,000 rated player. You're expecting those 1,000 rated rounds. It's just when I was a 970 rated player, I shoot 1,005, 1,010 rated round. I was like, okay, it's not bad. That's pretty good. That's better than my rating. And that golf was actually pretty good. That's golf that's good enough to cash, make some money, do those things that we need to do. But my expectation level was significantly lower, and I want to have that while I'm out here. So trying to bring that into this year, into the first event, it's just I'm gonna go play golf. If it's good, awesome. If it's not that good, all right, let's learn from it so we can keep those moments from happening anymore. So that's been my real focus of just I've always talked about no expectations, but I really having no expectations this year.
Yeah, I can imagine the season. 8 months long. Mm-hmm. It can be a grind, and especially if you're not, like you said, playing maybe what you think is your full capacity.
Yeah.
A few weekends in a row, it can really weigh on you. Is there something that you lean on maybe in those times, a few off events in a row is something that you get back to on your core?
I really want to focus on the field work. Yeah. Honestly, and we get a lot of time on the course, but doing some more field work, just throwing the shots, understanding the discs, and feeling comfortable. More time on the putting green, and sometimes I think this Wednesday, the day before the tournament, I think I'm not even going to play a practice round. I might throw a hole or two, but then really put my focus in on putting and just being on the course, seeing the shots. I don't need to be throwing. So hopefully that will at least help me stay in that zone longer, because I'm not overusing my body. And then 8 months into the season, I'm struggling to to throw a flex shot because my body's just like, dude, chill. Yeah, we're done. So.
Okay, well, hey, this is cold out here and there's wind. Not necessarily something we see a lot on tour. Is there anything that like you think your game really suits, or is there anything that maybe you're gonna have to really focus on out here, specifically at Vegas?
Trust in the overstable discs, and sometimes making a golf decision on like. Especially on the course that I just practiced is the factory store course. There's a couple holes where it's like, I'm not reaching it.
Yeah.
Let's take a good, reliable, overstable disc, put it up short, trust our short game. That's a good thing to practice, play some catch with the basket, and let's take birdies, pars, and move on. And, I think that if I can, especially with some of the discs that we've had come out from last season with the Lucid X Enforcer, the Lucid X Felon, I have different tools that I haven't had in years past because these things are reliably overstable. They fight in the wind, and they're giving me plenty of opportunities to just, all right, rip it. It's not going to get there, and you're going to be in a good spot, and it's going to settle to where you're not finding trouble. Where I think in years prior, I had really good overstable discs, but they like to fly. And I especially out here, if the wind picks up and in this fast grass, if they like to fly, you can skip, you can run, you can push long, you can find these spots to where you're really in trouble. So definitely having those is helping me at least have confidence.
Yeah,
so
that's half the battle, right?
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
All things considered, you're not necessarily one of the longest throwers on tour. That doesn't say you don't throw far.
Yeah.
But so with guys like Eagle and Simon and Paul, they crush. Is that something that maybe like gets in your head coming into a tournament like this, or do you just keep your head down and play your game?
Got to keep the head down, play your game. I'm starting to realize that I feel like I'm throwing a little farther, but I'm still not throwing that like the level of their distance. Yeah. It's like I'm throwing far enough to be a top competing pro and compete at every event. But it's staying in that bubble, staying in my zone, staying in Eric's zone, just and being there as much as possible. Because if I stay there, I'm going to throw it where I can get myself up and down. I've took this one from Nate Sexton. He looks to be able to set himself up for a Firebird, Sexton Firebird little approach. If I can set myself up to throw a Lucid Felon approach, I'm going to play well.
Yes.
And if I can find every opportunity to be throwing a Felon, I can score well on par 4s and 5s constantly. And if the hole sets up to be able to throw a Felon off the tee, I feel like I'm all right. Like it's the same business. It's like this is our time. Let's pick up our birdies when we can and make the most of it. So once you started to realize that, I've hit the 30 mark. So throwing that distance is probably out of the question, and that's fine because you don't really need that. We've seen that. You've seen that with plenty of pros who've shown that they can compete. That Eagle and Simons and Kevin Jones of the world, they're not winning every single event. And if they were, then we'd have to find a way to throw farther, but they're really not. So we can just throw our game, make our putts, and then we're going to be successful.
Yeah, see how the chips fall.
Yeah, exactly. Especially here in Vegas.
Oh, I didn't even mean to do that. That's perfect.
That's good, dude.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up. Is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans, supporters, family, anybody, that you'd like to say hey to?
Yeah. Tina, obviously, she's the biggest reason I'm out here on the road. Dynamic Discs, thank you guys. Hum Kombucha, tons of different people out there that really support Tina and I. But the fans as well. We make the joke plenty that we're just as much fan sponsored as we are disc sponsored. Dynamic and everybody does so much for us, but the fans really going out, buying the discs, supporting those brands definitely comes back to us. So without them, we wouldn't be here. So thank you to you guys, and thank you to people like you who are looking to showcase us and allow us to have a different avenue to spread disc golf and make things better. So thank you, Corey. And
absolutely. Hey, it's my pleasure. Everybody out there, go check out Whale Sacks if you haven't already. They're fantastic. I use them myself. And anything else, check out my YouTube channel for coverage of all things disc golf. Thank you so much for watching that interview. Guys, if you'd like to support, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it as much as you can. And if you have it in you, the patreon.com/JohnnyDiscGolf, where every dollar goes to cleaning up this disaster of a van.